Hello, my name is Samuel Johnson, and this video will demonstrate a valuable tool that is part of the Serious Language Student Japanese flashcards. In addition to the flashcards that come with the original program, which among other things include all of the educational kanji and more than 1,000 common words, it is also possible for the user to create and add to the box, so to speak, his or her own words. And these can come, for example, from a textbook, which one is using in order to practice the words in the textbook, as well as the words that come with the original program. So, to show you how to add cards to the program, I will start the program and walk you through it step by step. So, the process starts when you're already running the program and when you're looking at any card and you have the Settings button available. So click on Settings and go to either the expanding mode where the user is choosing or to frozen mode, which also involves the user choosing. So pick either one of those. I'll pick expanding mode, click on OK, and at that point you're given the opportunity to type in hiragana the word that you want to add. So let's start with adding a word that might quite possibly come up early in a course that you were taking. Kiiro, the word for yellow. So I type in Kiiro and hit OK. And it turns out that that is actually one of the available words in the original box. So rather than having to add it, we can simply say, yes, that's the word I was looking for, and that will now be added to the words that you're practicing. And at that point, you can go back to practice, or you can add another. Okay, we're experimenting with the various ways to add words to the vocabulary, so let's add another. Again, we have the box where we enter things, and so we can enter a word, and let's enter the word for air or atmosphere. Kuki. Okay. And that word is not in the original box. It's unknown to the program. So at that point, one can either say, oh, well, I will give up on that word and give you a different word, or give up on the adding process entirely and go back to practicing, or say, well, I know about this word. I can give you the information you need to add it. So I will supply. So I choose the I will supply option and click OK. Now at this point, I have to supply the kanji for this word. And in order to supply kanji, I have to be familiar with what is called Unicode. Unicode is a system that assigns a number to any Chinese or Japanese character. It actually assigns a number to pretty much any symbol in any writing system on the planet, but in particular it indexes all of the Japanese characters. And so we need to know the Japanese character, the Unicode numbers for the Japanese characters ku and ki. There are any number of ways to look up that. One of them is certainly to go to the Unicode project's home webpage, or a number of other resources that are in the manual that you can download from the Serious Language Student website, or you could simply use your favorite browser. So let's do that. Let's just go to a browser and ask what are the Unicode numbers? What are the Unicode numbers for the two characters of kuki, meaning air in Japanese? And my browser comes up with the answer that the characters have Unicode numbers 7A7A and 6C17. So I'm going to make a note of those and go back to the program. So I will minimize my browser window. I'm back in my program, and the first of those characters had the Unicode number 7A7A. And there it is. The program understands that Unicode number, and it gives me the character. The second character had the number 6C17. And again, the program recognized that character and provided that character. So I can stop adding Unicode numbers because those are the only two characters I need. And the hiragana is already there, and I can give it the English, and I'm going to just provide 2 English translations. There's more that are possible always, but those 2. And I also have to supply some grammar information. I check here if the word is a noun, I check here if it's a verb, and I check here if it's something else. Well, kuki is a noun, so I'll check here. And in that case, I have to ask, can it be used as an adjective with na? And as you may know, at this point in your Japanese, that's true of many nouns, but not true of kuki. And also, can it be used as a verb with suru without using o? Now, if those grammar questions are unfamiliar to you, you will learn about them as you learn more Japanese. But in any case, neither one of them applies to kuki, so I can just say that's a noun, but they don't apply, and say OK. And I'm back to the screen where I can add another, or just go back to practicing. Since one more thing can happen, I'm going to add another, and I'm going to add a word that came up in a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, the word for the bends, the decompression sickness problem that some divers have. And the word for that in Japanese, sen, sui, byo. And if you know a little bit of Japanese vocabulary, you'll probably recognize that the byo is going to be the byo of sickness, and the sui is going to be the sui of water. Okay, the program did not come supplied with the word for the bends. That's not surprising. So again, we'll take the I will supply option. And again, we will find the Unicode numbers. So again, I'll go back to my browser, and I will ask, what are the Unicode numbers for the 3 characters of sen, sui, byo, meaning, I'll just say bends, that should work. And if I click on show more, there are the 3 characters. And as I predicted, byo is the character that I know already for sickness, and sui is the word for water, and sen is the word for submerge or hide or dive. And here are the Unicode numbers. So the first one is 6F5C, the next one is 6C34, and the last one is 75C5. So again, I go back to my program, and the type of the first of those was 6F5C. And there it is, and here is where something new has happened. That character is unknown to the program, and so we have to supply information about it. You may remember that each card that you see that has a kanji gives you kanji information, namely the radical and the additional strokes. And so the program is asking, what is the radical and what are the additional strokes for this character? Well, in order to get that answer, again, there are a variety of resources available. There is Wiktionary, which is a Wikipedia-like website that has information about the vocabulary of a great variety of languages. And there are other resources listed in the manual. But again, most of the time, one can get this answer from going to a browser and just asking your browser. So I will go back to my browser, and I'll ask, I'll just start over with my typing. What is the traditional radical number and additional strokes for the first character sen in sen, sui, byo, meaning the bends? And there is the character that you want. They gave us the whole 3-word translation again, but they gave us crucially this character, and tells us that the traditional radical number is radical number 85, which is water, in its left-hand variant, and that the additional strokes is 12. There are a total of 15 strokes of the character. But 85 and 12 are the 2 magic numbers we need. So we go back to the program, and we say that it's radical number 85. And for future reference, we can remember that that is the radical that has the nickname water, and 12 additional strokes. So the program is now happy. It has put in sin. We now have to give it the Unicode number for sui, for water, which we noted down from before, is 6C34. And there it is. Notice this time that's a character with which the program is already familiar. It knows the radical number and additional strokes. It knows that it's radical 85 with 0 additional strokes, so it doesn't need to quiz you. It does not need to quiz you. Okay, and now we can go for the bio, which is 75C5. And for some reason, it put a space in there that I don't want. So there's my answer. And notice again, it knew the radical, it knew the character bio, and so it did not need to ask you for the radical and additional strokes. So that's the end of putting in characters. So it's the end of using the Unicode blank, and the hiragana is already there. Again, I have to tell it whether it's a noun or a verb or something else. I'll show you what happens if I forget that. Let's say that I decide to put in the definitions the bins or decompression sickness and hit OK. It's unhappy. It's unhappy because the information is incomplete. The needed grammatical information is not checked. So I click on OK. Everything is still there. Nothing is lost, but I have to tell it, oh, this is a noun. It's not a noun that can take na. It's not a noun that can take suru without o. So now that's the complete information. I say OK, and there I am, and I've finished adding cards for now, and so I can go back to practice. And I get information on the fact that I've been on the program for 10 minutes, but 0% because I've not actually been testing myself for 10 minutes. And so now I'm actually going back to testing and being asked to go from hiragana to English with the word ichiban. So that is a few examples of how you can add your own vocabulary cards to the program. I hope that it's obvious how useful that is if you are expanding vocabulary while taking a course, because then you can make sure that the words you're learning are also the words that are in your textbook. I hope that you will go to the website, seriouslanguagestudent.com, download the free version to make sure that it downloads smoothly and that it installs smoothly. Play with it a little bit. And then if you like it, please go back to the website and download the full version and install that and pay a licensing fee. And then you'll have the full version, and it's the full version that has this capacity to expand the vocabulary set with which the program originally comes. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope that you will come visit the website.